I found out my brother lied about being unemployed while using my money to travel. If I had known he was watching sunsets in Cancun with his feet in the sand while telling me he couldn't afford food, I would have canceled his Netflix months ago. It all started with a phone call in the middle of a client pitch. I was deep into a marketing presentation for a client who made everything unnecessarily difficult when my phone started blowing up, 10 missed calls. All from him. I thought something had happened. Like, seriously happened. Spoiler. Absolutely nothing had happened. His name is Sean. He's 2 years younger than me. No college degree, no real direction in life. One of those free spirit types people romanticize. But in reality, it's just poor planning and a decent smile. For the past 3 months, Sean had been telling me he was out of work. He said his company let him go due to budget cuts, that he couldn't land an interview, and that things were getting desperate. So naturally, Big Brother mode activated. I started sending him money every week, covered part of his rent, helped with utilities, even paid his car insurance once. One time, he texted me at 2 a.m. saying he had no food in the fridge, and I literally placed a grocery delivery for him while half asleep. My parents? They thought I was overreacting. It's just a rough patch, they said. He'll figure it out. But to me, family is family. If my brother was struggling, I wasn't going to let him drown. Then the story started to not quite line up. There was one time he said he couldn't afford gas, and later that day he posted a photo of himself with a charcuterie board and the caption vibes. Another time, he told me he was spending the whole day job hunting, but then I saw he was tagged in a photo at a rooftop bar in the middle of a Tuesday. At first, I thought maybe he was spiraling. Like, maybe he was overwhelmed or dealing with something deeper. But everything unraveled the day a friend of mine, who I completely forgot, even followed Sean, sent me a DM. Is your brother in Miami? I blinked. What? He sent me a screenshot of Sean's story. It was a boomerang of palm trees and some caption like #SunsetStadioFmind. So, I went to check his account myself and realized I was blocked. Yep. My own brother blocked me on Instagram. The guy who was sleeping in his car was living it up somewhere tropical and made sure I couldn't see it. But guess what? He forgot one thing. People talk. And the internet never forgets. I made a burner account. Followed him again without him noticing. And what I saw? Let's just say, it felt like someone poured hot coffee on my spine. Over the last month, he had posted from New York, Miami, and now, Cancun. Poolside, smiling, deserved break, captions, scenic views. Always some vague, healing nonsense. Healing, with my paycheck. I didn't know if I wanted to laugh, cry, or Venmo request every cent back with interest. He had been calling me crying, saying he couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, didn't know how he'd survive the week. And here he was, literally surfing. That's when I knew for sure. This wasn't miscommunication. It wasn't a misunderstanding. I was being played. Hard. But if he thought I was going to just let it go, oh no. I was about to teach him what it feels like to lie for a living. I didn't say anything right away. I needed time to process the fact that I was bankrolling my little brother's influencer vacation lifestyle while he was out here telling me he might have to crash at a shelter. So I did what any mildly petty older sibling would do. I started collecting receipts. I took screenshots of every story he posted, every tagged photo, every beach selfie, every overpriced brunch post. Even found his name on a hotel check-in someone else had posted. I saved the captions, the timestamps, the comments where people said stuff like, living the dream. And he replied, one day at a time, bro. He was living the dream, all right, my dream, on my dime. The more I looked, the more furious I got. And the more furious I got, the more I realized I needed to play this smart. Confronting him head-on wouldn't work. Sean's the kind of person who always has a comeback, a sob story, a spin. If I pushed too hard, he'd cry, say I was overreacting, and somehow make me feel like the villain. So I waited, kept sending him money like nothing had changed, kept pretending I believed him. Meanwhile, I started putting together a plan. And then, the opportunity dropped right into my lap. My mom called to say Sean was flying back to town soon and wanted to stay at my place for a few days to get back on his feet. It was like the universe gift-wrapped me the perfect setup. I said yes. But in the 2 weeks before he came back, I worked overtime. I called a friend who's a recruiter and asked her to send me every fake job offer she'd ever received. You know the ones. We're hiring immediately. No experience required. Unlimited earning potential. Then I printed them. Dozens. Stuck them all over my guest room wall. I also took every photo I had of him vacationing, the ones he tried to hide, and printed them too. Put them in a little photo album labeled Job Hunt Highlights. I left that on the nightstand. And the final touch? I changed the Wi-Fi name to Sean Pays Me Back and set the password to the amount he owed me. Petty? Maybe. Deserved? 100%. So the day comes. He shows up at my door with a big dramatic sigh like he just walked off the battlefield. Man, it's been rough, he says, dropping his bag on my floor like I'm the front desk of a hotel. I just need to recharge for a bit, you know? I smile. Hand him a towel. Of course. Guest room's all yours. Make yourself at home. He walks in, sees the wall of job offers, the album, the Wi-Fi name, stops cold. I watch him from the hallway as he opens the album. His face? Priceless. Like he was watching every lie unravel in real time. He closes it, slowly, then looks at me and goes, "What is this?" I shrug. "Oh, just a little scrapbook. Since you've been working so hard job hunting and all." He doesn't laugh. He just sits down on the bed, silent. I sit across from him. "So, you want to talk about Cancun? Or New York first?" He finally speaks. "You went through my account." "Nah. You blocked me, remember? But you forgot about literally everyone else we know. Also, the internet exists." At that point, he didn't even try to deny it. Just kind of melted into the bed and mumbled. I didn't mean to take advantage. I was just stuck. I didn't yell. I didn't snap. I just told him, "You weren't stuck. You were coasting. There's a difference." And then I did something that shocked even me. I handed him an envelope. Inside, a bill. Every dollar I'd sent him over the last 3 months, itemized. Venmo transfers, utility payments, food orders, car insurance, all of it. At the bottom, in bold, "Do, when you grow up." He stared at the envelope like it was radioactive. "You're serious?" Completely. He opened it and started flipping through the pages. His eyes scanned the itemized list. $45 for groceries, $180 for his car insurance, $62 for an Uber I covered when he missed the bus to a job interview. That clearly never happened. When he got to the total, his face changed. It was the kind of expression someone makes when they realize they've been caught, but they're still trying to look like the victim. "I didn't think you were keeping track." I tilted my head. "That's the thing about adults, Sean. We keep track. Of money, of time, of who's lying to our face while pretending they're sleeping on a friend's couch." He looked down. "You think I'm a terrible person?" I didn't answer that. Instead, I told him he could stay for one more night. One. After that, he needed to figure something else out. And no, I wasn't lending him money for a hotel. No, he couldn't crash at mom and dad's because, surprise, they already knew. I told them everything. What shocked me was how not shocked they were. My mom literally said, "Honestly, we figured. We just didn't want to deal with it." My dad said, "Maybe this is the wake-up call he needs." So that was that. The next morning, he left. No dramatic goodbye. No apology. No attempt at conversation. Just packed up his stuff and called a rideshare. He left the envelope on the kitchen counter with a note on top. "You didn't have to make me feel like trash." I laughed out loud when I read it. Because honestly, he made himself feel like trash. I just put it in writing. Over the next few weeks, I didn't hear from him. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't worried about him. Not out of coldness, but because I finally realized he'd been fine all along. I had been the one carrying all the guilt, the emotional labor, the responsibility that wasn't mine to carry. Then, 2 months later, something weird happened. I got a Venmo notification. From Sean. It was for $20. The description? Just one word. Progress. I burst out laughing. I didn't reply, but every few weeks after that, I'd get another payment. $15, $30, $12. Random amounts, random times. Each with a single word or emoji. One time, he sent $25 and wrote growth. Another time, it was $40 with a flexing arm emoji. I didn't say anything, just let it happen. I didn't even know if he was trying to make amends or just troll me in his weird Sean way. Then, one day, I got a text from our mom. "Sean got a job." I blinked. "Like a real one?" "Yeah, it's part-time, but it's something." He said he wants to get stable. And honestly, that surprised me. Maybe it was the envelope. Maybe it was the complete lack of enabling. Maybe it was getting caught red-handed in the middle of his healing journey. But something shifted. He started sending me actual chunks of money. Real payments. with full sentences. One came with a message. Thanks for not completely giving up on me, even when I deserved it. That one actually got to me a little. Don't get me wrong. I'm still not giving him a house key or anything. But I wasn't angry anymore. Just relieved. Relieved that I stood up for myself. Relieved that I didn't let guilt keep digging a hole I couldn't afford to fill. And yeah, kinda proud that I finally learned the difference between helping someone and being used. A few weeks after that last Venmo payment, Sean called me. It was the first actual phone call we'd had since everything went down. He didn't ask for anything. Didn't dodge or deflect. He just said, I owe you. For more than the money. And for once, I didn't feel the need to jump in with a sarcastic comment or a lecture. I just let him talk. He told me he got a job doing deliveries, that it wasn't glamorous, but it was something he earned on his own, that he was staying with a friend while saving up, that he'd started going to therapy, which, knowing Sean, was the biggest plot twist of all. He also said he deleted his Instagram. That one almost made me cry. I mean, if you knew how obsessed he was with posting beach sunsets and inspirational quotes about finding peace, you'd know that was his version of cutting off an arm. Then he said, I've been thinking a lot about what you did. The scrapbook, the Wi-Fi name, that invoice. He chuckled. You made me look at myself in a way no one else ever has. I told him that wasn't the plan. The plan was to embarrass him just enough to maybe, knock him off his high horse. He laughed again and said, Mission accomplished. That conversation didn't fix everything, but it felt like the first real one we'd had in years. We still don't talk every day, and that's fine. We're figuring it out. Rebuilding something that isn't based on guilt or emotional blackmail or whatever weird dynamic we had before. And yeah, he still owes me money. A good chunk of it, actually. But you know what? The moment I stopped expecting anything in return was the moment I actually started getting it. I learned that setting boundaries doesn't make you cruel, and that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let someone face the consequences of their own decisions. The truth is, if someone is capable of helping themselves, but chooses not to, and you keep stepping in to rescue them, you're not being generous. You're just giving them permission to stay stuck. I used to think being a good brother meant always saying yes. Now I know sometimes it means saying no. Figure it out. And as for Sean, he sent me one last Venmo payment a few days ago. $50. The description? For the Netflix. I finally got my own account. Yeah, that one actually made me smile.